This show brought to you by Circle of Seven Productions, www.cosproductions.com. Please be sure to subscribe and welcome to our circle.
Hello, everybody. This is Readers Entertainment Radio, and I am Patricia W. Fisher. And here I'm going to be giving you some fabulous people that you need to follow this week. There is a thing called the Holly Jolly Hop, and if you do hashtag Holly Jolly Hop, you will find a ton of writers that have all sorts of fun and cool prizes going on and going down. And the top started on Monday. It goes through Saturday, so December 7th through the 13th. And you've got a ton of different writers in there, one of which is talking to us today. So one, Natalie Normann is a Norwegian writer and writes historical romances in her native language. She also has written crime novels and children's books before turning to romance full-time. She grew up in a shipping town on the west coast of Norway and always wanted to be a writer. And she wanted to smoke cigars and drink whiskey like Hemingway, but settled for chocolate and the occasional glass of Bailey's, which I totally approve of. Her writing journey started with short stories in women's magazines until her first book was published in 1995. Summer Island is her first romance written in English, and her latest book, Christmas Island, is out now. You can find Natalie at Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram. All the links are in the write-up of the show. Welcome to the show, Miss Natalie Normann. How are you today?
Oh, I'm fine. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So it took a bit for all of you listening, it took a little coordination for us to organize the time because right now it is like early afternoon where I am, and you are into the evening, correct?
Yes, 8 p.m. it is here. And I have serious problems with the PM, AM things. So.
Right, because you guys go by 24-hour clock, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. That just makes it so much easier. So it's 20. It's over there. Yeah. So what is, and I have to ask because I got to go to Scandinavia in the late 80s, and we were there in the summer because we took a cruise. We flew to Copenhagen because my grandfather's parents had immigrated from Denmark. So in the late teens. So we went over and he got to meet all these relatives that he'd never met before. But it was summer, so we took a cruise out of Copenhagen, went all the way up the North Cape. But of course you can't do that in the winter because it's rather cold and all icy. The thing that got me was the sun never went down. Yeah. So right now, how much sunlight are you guys getting a day? Because it's the opposite now.
I'm in Oslo, so I'm in pretty south. And it gets dark now about 4 o'clock.
Okay. Well, yeah, you still get, about really 8 hours of sunlight a day? Yeah.
Well, I think the sun comes up around 10, so it's 7 hours, I think, with no sunshine. It's mostly raining. But if you go further north you get, the darker it gets. Right.
Shorter periods of sun for sure. And anybody wondering where Oslo, Norway is, if you get your maps out, you look at Europe and you see Denmark, which is kind of like the little squiggly thing that's sticking up into the North Sea, and straight across the road there, straight across the water is Oslo, and it's kind of tucked up underneath, and you're really close to Sweden.
Tucked inside the fjord. Sorry.
Yeah. And just a beautiful place.
Yeah, it's lovely. It has the best weather in Norway because it's not on the coast. It's snuggled inside the fjord, so it's protected on both sides with mountains, and so it's nice here. Yeah.
So being so close to all these different countries, is there, when you travel within Norway or Sweden or Denmark, everyone has their unique language, but is there a common language all of you speak, or does everyone just kind of figure out what each other's saying?
No, it's Danish and Swedish and Norwegian is like Australian English, American English, British English.
Oh wow, yeah.
It's the same language basically. It's like we understand each other completely. It's really just a few words, and it's not a problem actually to understand each other. So.
Yeah, It was interesting. I tried to learn some Danish before I went over with my family because I felt like we're in your country, so I should know some basic stuff, you know. But I had taken Latin-based languages in school, and Danish is not really a language you can learn out of a book.
No, it's not.
And I really tried.
If you want to learn a Scandinavian language, Norwegian is actually the easiest one.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, because because we have no problems understanding. Yeah, no, we because we pronounce it totally different than the Danish stuff. If I read a Danish book, it's more or less like the Norwegian book, but I can have problems understanding them when they talk. So it's the pronunciation, it's how they speak, but it's very close. I mean, Norway was part of Denmark for 400 years, so we are very close historically and culturally.
Well, it was just a beautiful, beautiful part of the world, and I look forward to going back at some point. But I know that you guys just got snow. You posted a lovely picture on Instagram outside that looked out your window. It looked very, very classic, you know, holiday type picture with just a dusting of snow on all the cars and between the alleys. So it was a lovely picture, and all the cobblestone. It was great. So if you're trying to find Natalie on Instagram, she is at Natalie Normann, and there's 2 N's on there. So she is on there. And she's got a picture, if you're wondering if it's this Natalie Normann that you're looking at, she's got a picture of her book, Christmas Island, which is what we're going to talk about today. So this is the second book of, it's the same series, correct?
Yes, so it's sort of a sequel, but you can read it independently. It's not a problem to read it. If you haven't read the first one, it's fine to read the second one first.
Okay. So tell me about your book. Tell me about Christmas Island.
Well, it's set on a small island on the west coast. It's not very snowy on the coast. It's wet and rainy, and sometimes you get snow for a few hours, and then it goes away. So I grew up in a rainy town, not really snowy. And the island is small. There's a small community living there. There are no cars, so it's a bit special that way. And they have some of them are related, some are not, and they managed to live on this island. And I tried to write about the Norwegian Christmas customs and show how we would celebrate a typical Christmas. And there is a British
tell me about
She comes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
That's
what I was
to the island.
next.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Go.
Because Holly she's a British doctor, and she comes to the island because she has had problems at her job, and her brother lives here on this island.
Okay.
And she regrets it almost immediately because it's dark and it's cold and it's awful. And she meets a very nice young man who has a big fluffy cat, and it develops from there.
Love it. I love it. And tell me a little bit about the love interest, the hero.
Well, Tord, when he's very defensive about his name because he doesn't like to be called Thor. Yeah, so that's very important to him. And he's a bit of a hermit. He doesn't want to talk to people. He's just on the island as a guest. And she kind of drags him into meeting the other people on the island and to even celebrate Christmas and become part of society again in a way.
I love it.
Yeah, it's really fun to write. So I hope it's fun to read as well.
So I mean, because and it's nice that you mentioned Thor because whether people know it or not, like the Marvel characters, when it talks about Asgard and Thor and Loki, I mean that's all Scandinavian mythology. I mean that's been around for 1,000 years or more.
Oh, more than that.
Yeah,
it's a Norse, whether religion or culture. So I think Norway became Christian about 1,000 years ago. So before that, it was the Norse religion that dominated.
Yeah. And tough. I mean, one of the things I was just amazed with was we got to go to one of the museums for the boats, the Viking boats. And and they had found it. It was an archaeological find, and so they had, brought this boat in, and it was amazingly intact. How beautifully it was made. But what struck me is there's no place to get out of the weather on the boat. I mean, you're just sitting up top the whole time.
Yeah, there was no hiding place. They had to sit there in storms and bad weather as well.
Yeah, tough, very tough, and lovely, fabulous people. And so English is your second language, or more so, or third, or how many languages do you know?
No, it's the second. It's the second language.
Okay. So where did you learn English?
Mostly I learned it in school, actually. But the reason I started to read in English was because we moved to Spain when I was a teenager, very young. And there was nothing to read. I went to Norwegian school, and there was no library, and I couldn't read Spanish. But I could read a little bit English. So I found very easy to read English books, and I sat with my dictionary, and I read because I had to read something.
Yeah.
So that's how I started.
Because you were always a big reader growing up.
Yes, I read everything. So
I love that in your bio.
Like a book a day.
Yeah, I love that in your bio you talk about just always wanting to read and just loving reading. And so how wonderful to have two languages to pull from, because there's things that just don't translate very well. I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
And so it's just nice to be able to write it in that language. So each, you can go either direction. So it's just absolutely lovely. Were there any shows that you watched that helped you learn English, or how did you practice? Or with whom?
Well, I realized at some point that I was better in English than my grandparents when I started laughing at punchlines in comedy shows. I think one of the first soap operas we saw in Norway was Soap. I think it's called Soap in American. So there was sort of a parrot, that was the first one. And it was hilarious. And I was laughing at jokes, and they didn't get it because the translator got it wrong.
Right.
So I thought, right. The punch, sometimes punchlines doesn't work in another language, It only works in English or American. So that was fun.
Right. I know that my husband and I have loved different shows, from different countries, and there's one that was called Father Ted, and it was out of the UK, and they had very thick accents, and it was funny because the captions, the closed captions, were like useless because
they were.
They couldn't get. I don't know if they did like automatic, like the computer was supposed to pick it up, but it just was terrible. So terrible.
Yeah, it doesn't work. They don't get the subtext at all sometimes.
Right. Right. Oh yeah, it's always very interesting. I always find it all very fascinating with languages and why do we keep certain words from its original to all the way through. It's very cool. So I'm just love talking to people from other countries and about different languages. It's just always very, it's just
fascinating.
Like me geeking out a little, but it's fun, It's
fun. It's
all of it. Yeah. It's also interesting, and something I didn't take notice of until, of course, I'd heard it a lot, was a lot of times when people take classes in other languages, they pick up the accent of their teachers. So when let's say you have, whether it's an American teacher or British or Australian or whomever, then you pick up that accent, and when you speak that language. So
yeah, you do.
It's very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, Norwegian schools would teach BBC English, they called it. But every show we watched, every movies we watched were Americans. So we end up with a mixture of both. Right.
And and it's always very interesting, regional dialects and how that translates over later. So yeah, it's just very cool. So when you have we'll get back to the books now. When you have Christmas Island and you were writing Summer Island, and that came out earlier this year in June, I believe.
Yeah.
Summer Island? Okay. So when you were writing that book, were you already planning on writing Christmas Island, or was that something that came about, or how did you plot that?
Well, I had the title, and I got a contract for Summer Island and for Christmas Island, so I had no idea about the plot or anything before I started. So I had Summer Island, and then sort of the main character was a British chef who came to the island. And his sister was a doctor, and I thought, okay, that's fun. I can use that for Christmas Island. Right. She kind of grew out of the first book. So, but Toad, he just popped up with his cat. So.
Do you have any other characters that you are screaming for their own book?
There is one on the island. Okay. Yeah, the teacher. So I'm hoping to write a book about her next. We will see. That would be really fun.
Yeah. Have you had feedback from readers that have asked about characters that you hadn't planned to write about?
Yes. This one, actually. I wasn't really thinking about her. And then I thought, okay, that's actually a much better idea. So I'll see if I can do that.
Okay. And so you were writing in other genres before this. So you were writing crime novels and children's books. And that's like huge, two completely different types of writing. How did you get into those types of writing?
Well, I started out writing with a friend, an Indian Norwegian, and he wrote crime novels with an Indian main character. And this was before Nordic Noir, so we were actually too early, I think. And that was great fun. And then we wrote some children's books together, horror stories actually. But all the way, I started out as a romance writer writing short stories and in magazines and things. And that was always my favorite. And then I was allowed to write the historical romance series, which I'm doing now. And so I can do that full time. So I write the English one on the side. It's like a hobby.
Nice. So tell me about some of your historical romances. And you write them in Norwegian, yes? Yes. Well, I write 6 of them a year. And I'm up to book number 30 in my 3rd series now. And it's about a Norwegian doctor in my hometown in 1920. And so I can use my hometown, and it's really fun. It's interesting. So I'm having fun with that. Yeah. So I love the research. When you're writing, yes, I was going to ask next about the research. What made you pick the different time periods that you pick for your historicals? Well, the first historical was based on a small, like an inn in the coast, and it was set in 1600 something. And that was because that building existed until 1950 when it burnt down. And I thought, that's interesting. Can I use that? And the second one I set in Oslo in the 1700s. And that was more like rich man, poor man kind of story. And the third one is about the doctor. So I left my hometown when I was 15. I was never going to go back. I was 18, never going to go back. And now that's all I write about. So, full circle. Right. Yeah, it's always interesting. It's like, I guess that is there. Oh, okay. Fine. It's interesting, I guess. Interesting taste. Yes. So do you have an idea for another series? Or, you're writing this one. Is your mind already on to the next series, plotting that out, or do you? No. What's your process? I'm sticking with this one for a while, so we'll see how far I get before I get fed up with it, and before all of the story just ends, because at some point stories will end. So and as long as I think it's fun,
So I do the English ones on the side. It's a crazy job. It's fun.
Yes, it is fun. You feel like you're living a bunch of different lives in a bunch of different worlds. So it's like, I think I'll stay in this world for now, and then I'll visit the other world periodically. When you go to school, in America, they have you take, they break up the American history in elementary school a bit, and then they have a little bit in elementary school and then middle school, and then you have to take some more in high school. Is that how is it set up for Norwegian history or European history and for you when you're going to school?
It's been a very long time since I went to school, so it's probably very different by now. But we had history we started school at 7 when I was in school, so we started later than everyone. And I think we began history 4th grade, something like that, I think.
Okay.
Of course, in my school, I went to school in a small building, and we had history in the building because my school building was occupied by the Germans during the war. So there were holes in the walls from the beds that the German soldiers had slept in. So we learned history on the ground.
Right. Well, and that's why I asked, because what kinds of things did you learn that you didn't learn in school about history, Norwegian history, as you're doing your research for these stories?
Well, the interesting thing about writing series is that you have to read a lot of local history. Mm-hmm. So in school you get the big picture. And when I started my doctorate series, I didn't know that Norwegians had taken part in the First World War. There were 10,000 Norwegians who fought, some on the Allied side, some on the German side, and lots of Norwegian Americans, of course.
Yes.
And I didn't know that, so this was very interesting. Also, I didn't know that there were female doctors. So this was all new to me, so I had great fun reading it. And,
for sure.
Everything, it was really interesting. So it's very easy when you write historical to sort of get lost in the history details. So you have to learn to pick what you can use and what's interesting, and try to not overwhelm the readers completely.
Right. Yeah, I call it going down the rabbit hole, because you, like in Alice in Wonderland, how you just start, that's interesting, now that's interesting, and then you realize you're way far from the 5-second thing you were going to check, 3 hours ago. So I didn't realize that that's something. Now, see, you know what? Now you start it, because now I'm going to go look all this stuff up, because I just want to know more now. I didn't realize that the Norwegians had sent female doctors for World War I. No, I knew they had gotten the Germans.
They had nurses. Yeah,
right.
There was nurses. Yeah.
Right.
And I know that the Scottish women, I don't know if they were, I can't remember the name right now, but they set up field hospitals which was only with women, doctors and nurses and everything. And they had some of the best results in saving soldiers.
Wow.
Which was interesting.
Yeah.
So
now I definitely want to look at that.
They worked. Yeah, it's really fascinating stuff.
Huh. Well, I knew that the Germans had gotten very far north in World War II. They actually, they showed us some different places when we were over there. But, I don't think a lot of people, when they're looking at the map, they think it stayed, mostly concentrated. The German armies stayed mostly concentrated on the continent itself. But no, they stretched as far as they could get. And it was a lot of ground to cover. And how fascinating to sit in a building while you're studying history to realize that history was made in the building.
Yeah, my mother and my aunt went to the same school when they were children. They remember being sent away from the school because the Germans came. So I grew up with these memories from the war, which is very fascinating. Wow. So I think that's how my history interest grew.
Oh, for sure. Oh wow, that would be just tremendous to hear those stories. It is one thing to see the actual interviews of people, but to be in the same room talking to someone who's been through this, that's a totally different vibe. That's amazing. And so how much warning did your mom or grandmother get for this? Was it a few minutes? Was it a day?
No, my mother was born in 1939, and the Germans came in 1940. So she was a baby when they came. Sure. And my grandmother remembered this very vividly, of course, because she had to keep 3 children healthy and safe. So she remembered it very well. So, and she didn't really like to talk about it, but she remembered. So I could persuade her sometimes to tell me that.
Yeah, it's interesting. My great-grandmother grew up with her, and my aunt one year, several years after my great-grandmother had passed, she had recorded my great-grandmother like 10 years before and interviewed her about her life. And it was very interesting to hear what she would talk about and what she wouldn't talk about. And there was some sort of something that you can hear them fighting over the recorder, the audio recorder, because my grandmother's like, "Is that on?" And my aunt's like, "Yeah, just go ahead and talk about it." She goes, "No, you have to turn it off. I don't want it." And she's like, "Come on, just tell us what it is." And she just wouldn't do it. We asked my aunt, it's like, "What was it?" She goes, "I don't even remember. It was so not scandalous." But she was insistent that it was just like this scandalous thing or something. It was just like, okay. Or my aunt promised she would say, and she's pretending it's not. I don't know. It's like
your imagination gets fired up.
I know. See, now I'm thinking it's like, oh, well, I wonder. So it's been several years since she showed it to us. So maybe I'll like see if that was really the conversation. So we'll see. But yeah, no, it's a whole different thing. And then when you've got your summer island and your Christmas island, you've layered it in with all these great foods and traditions. Tell me a holiday tradition that you have in the book that you got for like Norwegian or Scandinavian tradition for the holidays.
Well, one tradition is on the day before Christmas Eve, which we call Christmas Eve.
Okay.
And very, very many people in the country then eat hot rice porridge with cinnamon and butter, so the butter melts.
Right.
And sugar, of course. And that's dinner for that day.
Okay.
So that's a tradition. And what you have left over, you always make a lot of this porridge. So what you have left over, when it's cold, you mix it with whipped cream, and then you put cloudberries in it, or just as it is, and you put maybe a red sauce on it, something like that, and then it's dessert on Christmas Eve, because we celebrate Christmas Eve.
Okay. So Little Christmas is the 23rd, and then Christmas Eve is Christmas Eve. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah,
my daughter got to do, and I know Iceland is not, is like on the other side. So if you're looking at the map, everyone, Iceland is not next to Norway. It is on the other side of the UK. It's like closer to Greenland. So, but
further north.
She had to, it's very cold. Yes. But my daughter had to do a project on a country for the holidays, like what they celebrated differently, and it was just this massive project. And apparently, I don't know if you're familiar, but they have this thing where that children who are bad and don't receive a sweater, I believe, for Christmas might get eaten by this cat that wanders in the forest. And it's like, so I'm watching this saying, wow, this is just like what nightmares are made of for children. But so we always joke that. Yeah, it was like, wow, somebody was really twisted to come up with this for poor kids. Oh, Fred didn't get a sweater. Well, he's going to get eaten. So, so she had to come up with a song and everything for it. So we always joke when we see a nice sweater, it's like, oh, let's get that for you. So you're not eaten by this large, weird cat that's wandering in the forest. But one of the great, it's really terrible. It really is. But one of the great things I think about the holidays is I think a lot of traditions is brought in food. And you were talking about the hot rice porridge. Well, my grandfather liked rice pudding, which is the same, very similar, if not the same thing. And you put the cherries on the rice pudding for Danon. And so, it's just very interesting how it all, kind of overlaps a little bit, and everyone has their go-to thing and traditions, and it's just a fun read to kind of, like you're saying, escape to another place and create this world. So and you were writing it 6 months or 8 months before the book came out?
I was finishing it during summer, during the heat wave. So it was nice to go to a colder place.
Right. Yes. Let's get chilly. And I mean, did you have to because you're writing it in such a different time of year, did you have to go through pictures or everything, go, oh, that's right, that's what I have to include that, or do you just kind of sit down and does your story just come to you? I mean, what's your process?
Well, it all depends on. I'm a pantser, they say. I'm not a plotter. I don't plot out everything in advance, but I don't write just by the seat of my pants either, because I know I don't have the time to do that. It would demand so much editing. So I have a starting point. Sometimes I know where I'm going, and sometimes I start with characters and I play them out in my head in scenes, sort of like a movie. And does that work? Does that work? And then I put it all together. So I usually, the process before I start writing is quite long.
So you have a lot of your notes and everything written down.
Yeah, I have one book, a notebook for every project. So I keep everything in there, every ideas and weird stuff, and I write scenes that I may never use, but I keep them there so I can go back to it. So there's definitely there's definitely parts where we write and we're like, oh, I can't use any of this. So it's like I've got to go put it in a folder, save for later. Yeah. Yeah. But, I mean, you want to write it. I mean, you want to have too much. No, but you have to test out, to get to know the characters. I don't like character sheets where, where you put up the eye color and what their hobbies are, and I never use those. I just write them in little scenes and little situations, and how do they react to each other, to other things like that. That tells me a lot more about the character than some line, like a point, what is called bullet point.
Yes.
I can't use that.
Yeah, I mean, I use something that's similar, but I'm not religiously writing, like filling in everything. I have friends of mine that are just so amazing. I mean, they know what their dog's name was when they were 4. I mean, it's just like everything's written out. And I'm more of, they had dogs, probably 3, I don't know, So it's kind of an outline, a very messy one. But I mean, you want to kind of have your notes down to kind of see where they're going and who they are. Of course, there's always surprises. I'm sure your characters have surprised you more than once.
Yeah. No, in Christmas Island, the cat was supposed to be, just a little nice cat to be around, and he took on this whole huge personality, like cats do. So he was a huge surprise.
Yeah. I always find that so much fun when your character, you go, oh, well, you're doing this now? All right. So let's see where this goes.
That's a great part of the story,
Yes. Yes. And it helps you kind of layer it in, because I think sometimes for me that happens when I'm sitting there thinking, what is missing? Why isn't this working? And then one of the characters does something, whatever, and you're thinking, oh, yeah, that works. Yeah, that's what it is. So I love that.
Those moments are so good.
And you just want to call all your writer friends and tell them about it because they're the only ones that'll understand it. And sadly, they're all busy, and you have to tell your dog, and the dog's like, okay.
Whatever.
Okay, well, I got to go outside now. So there's a squirrel. Yeah, so it's always very interesting and lovely. So you've got the possibility. You're thinking about doing this this next book in the series about the teacher, and then what are you thinking after that? Do you have a plan or ideas for after?
Yes, I have, but I can't talk about them. I have lots of ideas. Ideas are the easy ones. Because, but I'd like to stay with the contemporary romance. I like that. And maybe write something historical even because I've got all this research. I've got to use it for something.
Right.
So, so I think I will do. I have plenty of ideas. Not all of them will pan out, but that's a good thing. You have to investigate the ideas to see which one works. Which one makes me happy in a way. So.
Well, and yes, and then how much information you can find, and can you use it, and is this something that would work? And I mean, yeah, definitely. And so tell me, I know you love to read just as much as you love to write. Who are some of your favorite authors?
Oh, well, I have a huge to be read pile, and it's growing by the minute. And I have very little time to read, so I have to handpick everything. Yes. So I lived in Wales for 2 years. I came back to Norway last year, and I met so many good writers there. And I tried to read those to see. And I'm a lot of romance writers who are totally brilliant. And I also discovered a lot of new ones. I have a new favorite indie writer. B.R. Maycock is her name, and she has written just a new Christmas story, and I'm longing to read it. I have to finish I have to edit the manuscript first. And then last year I discovered she lives in New Zealand. She wrote a book called Dead in Venice, and her name is Fiona Leach, and she has written a crime story about a hunt for a serial killer, and it's hilarious. And I thought that was so amazing. How can you write a proper thriller, but also hilarious? So I was really impressed by that book. So she's on there on the favorite list now.
That is a delicate balance for sure to pull that in. Wow. And you said Fiona Leach?
Yeah.
Okay. And what was the first author you said? B.R. what?
Her name is B.R. Maycock. She's Irish.
Maycock. Okay.
She writes lovely books. And then there's a new American writer. She's called Andy Newton. She writes historical from the war, and she's really good. She also came out last year. She's really good. She wrote...
What's one of her books?
The last one. I haven't read the newest one. It's called The Girl from Vichy. And then she wrote one book that was set in Germany. That was her debut book. And, of course, right now I can't remember the title. But it was really good.
Okay.
The Girl I Left Behind. Sorry.
The Girl I Left Behind, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if anybody's looking for good holiday books to give friends, you've got Summer Island, and you've got Christmas Island, and now you have book recs by Miss Natalie herself. So that is a good list, and it will keep you plenty busy. And then we've got all these authors on the Holly Jolly Chick Lit Hop. And what day are you on? You're on today, right? That you're featuring, or is that tomorrow?
Yeah, I was on the first day, on Monday.
The first day, okay.
Yeah, and it's really cool. It's the first time I'm taking part, of course. I haven't had an English book before. It's really cool, really fun. I have on my author page, and loads of people are coming in because I said I'll give you a gift card to use on any kind of bookstore, your favorite bookstore on the ground. Because so many bookstores are closing now, everywhere. So I hope that maybe... And they have been telling me about the favorite bookstores, and it's really fun, showing me pictures, and
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of indie stores, and the beautiful thing that people can do, if you have one in that you love or you've thought about going to or whatever, or you just see one online, is you can always buy a gift card and send it to someone, or send it or even if you have a reader that lives in another city or another state, just look up best indie bookstores and then find out the closest one to where they are and get them a gift card and send it to them. So that's a great way. Yeah. It's a wonderful way to support local businesses, especially now. Have you guys? How has that been going? In Norway, you guys. There was I know there was one thought of how to handle the pandemic, and then there was a bunch of different ones. How are you doing where you are? How are the numbers?
The numbers have been rising in Oslo, so we have more or less a lockdown now. So the gyms are closed, and the bars and the pubs and the restaurants are more or less closed. There is no alcohol servings anywhere. And I think the numbers are slowly creeping down again. But we are trying to save Christmas. It doesn't look good because the numbers have been going up all over the country. So, and Oslo is the worst because Oslo is the biggest town. So but we are cooperating, and everyone is using masks, and we have the anti-bac everywhere, and I think it's helping. Okay. So we do what the government tells us. they update us every day, and so we feel we get the information we need and we stick to it. So that's good.
Yeah,
but there will always
good.
be someone who. Who doesn't? But there are no parties are allowed and all these things. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we usually get together at Thanksgiving, of course, and we didn't. Everybody stayed home, and on my husband's and my side of the family, and we got to see everybody. And the general feeling is, everybody's been really mindful up to this point. Why would we blow it now? Let's just hold tight for a little longer.
Just hang in there.
Yeah.
Well, and I remember.
Well, I was telling my kids, I was saying, look, I know you guys are frustrated and they're learning from home, they're virtual school and everything, and the teachers are just working constantly. I said, but you have to realize, like, your great grandparents, their lives were disrupted for years because of wars. So y'all can suck it up for 9 months because and we've got like 9,000 TV stations, so I think you're fine. We've got food in the pantry, and so you're okay. So just like take those small favors, and they've been very good about it. They really have. I've been happy with it, and like anything, after a while you feel a little bit claustrophobic with staying home, but everybody's okay. So I'll take it. Oh, yeah.
That's
and
important
stay home and read books.
That you can stay safe. Yeah.
Yes. And stay home and read lots and lots of books.
Yes. That's really, really good. Very important. Book saves a lot.
Very good book.
So that's a good thing. Yeah.
Yes. Well, read books like Summer Island and Christmas Island. Both are out now.
Yeah. That's good. I'm happy.
Yes, it is.
So and I'm a freelance writer. I'm used to sit home, so I'm fine with this thing actually. I'm not too depressed about it. I'm worried about. I hope we now see an end to it, which is good.
Yes.
It will be over.
So. One day, yes, it will. Sooner rather than later. Let's hope. So for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here today, Natalie. I totally appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. I had great fun.
And so if you're looking for Natalie, it's Natalie Normann. That's 2 N's on her last name. So Natalie, Normann, Normann. And the links for her Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram pages are in the write-up of the show, as well as the link for her Summer Island and Christmas Island books that are out right now. And you can also check out some of our friends on the Holly Jolly Chicklet Hop. It is #HollyJollyHop. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter, and we're all over the place, and that is going to be from December 7th through the 13th. So be sure and check that out. And everybody, please continue to stay safe and keep on reading, everyone. This is Patricia W. Fisher with Readers Entertainment Radio.
This show brought to you by Circle of Seven Productions, www.cosproductions.com. Please be sure to subscribe and welcome to our circle.